What is the number one, the king of exercises for fat loss? To me, at 51, that I've been utilizing for a very long time, and I would suggest you do the same. That's why we're here today. But seriously, hit that like button, smash the, please subscribe today. I greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this out. Save this video, please, and forward this to somebody that you know and love and care about, and even if you don't. Just forward it, please. Because especially someone who's into just getting overall healthy, getting into shape, losing body fat, this is the one of one. And why this is king. Walking. Now I'm going to give you four. I have four reasons up there, but I know I listed more than four. And I'm not re-recording this. So that's 4+. So there's some insights here more than anything. But there really is four solid reasons for walking. Now I'm going to tell you my story and why for myself that I lead off with that all the time. It goes back to 2016 when I was like I walked back and forth to work. I was doing things. I got one of these watches, one of the fitness watches, and it was tracking my steps. And in the beginning of this, I was like, when I had it on, I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. Check, whatever. It was great. Then I realized, and I sat one day, and I'm like, wow, I'm not because I had a sedentary job, and I'm like, meaning I sat a lot. I sat 4 hours or plus a day. That's more sitting than walking around than what I'm doing now. And I'm like, I was walking less than 5,000 steps a day, less than 5,000 steps. And I'm like, okay, but I was doing cardio. I was playing basketball. Basketball was my go-to for burning a lot of calories, but I was only doing that once or twice a week. But anyway. And I was noticed, I'm like, man, this, I was like, okay, well, then I seen someone, I talked to some of my colleagues, and they were doing these challenges where they were walking 8,000, 10,000 steps a day. I'm like, oh, okay, well, and then I started doing that. I'll never forget, it was the end of 2016 going into 2017 where I'm like, I'm going to start walking. I'm going to build up to 10,000 steps a day. Before you know it, I was walking 10,000 steps a day. And I noticed a huge difference. And I noticed at that time, I wasn't doing a lot of cardio at all, zero. I was lifting weights, doing resistance training, 4 or 5 times a week. But I noticed a big difference in my composition as I was going into losing body fat and getting shredded down. And it was all from walking. So I upped my step count to 11,000, and I seen it. As I increased, I was like, wow, this was amazing. And that I wasn't doing anything, and I was holding calories, and I was burning a lot of calories based on I didn't know the watch is not exact. Watches, they're not exact, but utilizing it as a barometer, I noticed that my caloric burn was up there when I was walking, and I was like, wow. So I started walking 12,500. That was my goal. I set my watch to that, and then I set that as a goal. And I made sure I was getting 12,500 steps in a day. I'm not going to go any more in detail to that, and I'm just going to break it down on why it's the king of all kings. And here I go. Here it goes. Right. 1, it's muscle sparing. It spares your muscles, meaning like it's not really hard. You're not pounding away at doing, especially when you're in a caloric deficit, which you should be if you're trying to, losing body fat, belly fat, back fat. You're losing fat, you're losing weight like that. You want to make sure, you're in a caloric deficit, but it's muscle sparing. It preserves muscle. You utilize more fat over the muscle, instead of doing these high bouts of cardio or HIIT. Now, there's a time for that, but this is all about walking, okay? It's easier on your joints and it's non-concussive, meaning like it is, I feel it has preserved my joints by not doing heavy bouts of cardio every day or just doing that consistently to burn calories, where burning more calories while walking, while taking more steps has been the key completely when it comes to fat loss. It is the key. So now, one of the big things, I like studies. I follow a lot of studies when it comes to fitness and nutrition. And 3,800 steps a day versus 10,900 steps a day, okay, has an all-cause mortality rate increase. You are 53% less likely to die of just natural causes. 53% by increasing your step count, okay, from, let's say, 3,800 to 10,900. Now, this is a study. I'll put a link in there, or request a link from me and I'll send it to you. It's a study it's been done over and over again. But this is one of the major studies that I like. That's just crazy to me. Crazy good. Now, as far as insulin resistance, what's great about walking is that it uses all your big muscles, right? Your legs, your glutes, everything. All the big muscles are being used, and what that it's doing is it sucks the glucose out of your bloodstream without using any insulin or even insulin being required, giving your pancreas a much needed break. Yes, a much needed break, because it doesn't need to utilize a ton of insulin to do so. Think about that. Read that over and over. Giving your pancreas a break, right? And one of the most important organs in your body when it comes to losing body fat or maintaining healthy weight is your pancreas. And that the increases of insulin by, I'm telling you, it's a good thing, okay? So, and the lastly here is it's easier to start over any other workout, including resistance training. You can start it today. Most of us can walk, can take steps, can even add an extra 1,000. And it's been proven too that an extra 1,000 steps on top of what you're doing now will decrease your chances of dying by 47%. 47% by just walking an extra 1,000 steps a day on top of what you're walking now. Think about that for a moment. And take all that in. Take all that in, because I'm going to talk for a little bit more. Because this is all important. And it's one of the key things I do with all my clients is increase step count. It's very important to increase step count because of this, especially for myself. And I've noticed, and I not just noticed it, it's fact that I take a lot of steps. I take most half of my steps typically before meals, and some of them on an empty stomach, because I want that glucose to be pulled away, giving my pancreas a rest, and really, because you don't need insulin, very sparingly when it comes to just not introducing new food and taking those walks. And you can watch literally over days, weeks, and months that melt off while you are in a caloric deficit, a healthy one. And you're pulling from, you're allowing your body, you're giving your organs that rest that needs when it comes to this. So that's why it is king to me. It will always be king. Walking. Yes. It has changed. It literally has. It's changed my life. And when I introduce it into a program that is an evergreen program, it becomes something that's easy. Now, yes, like I said, you can do cardio, right? People say, oh, well, I'll just do an hour of cardio, which is great, which you can do that over time, which is fantastic. It should be it can be part, of course. You can, but I'm telling you, as far as the king of kings, to me, walking we'll do it. That's why. Again, comment. Let me know what you think. If you have any other questions on anything, just comment, please. And I'll talk to you soon.